Hey, it's Clay. Welcome to another League of Legends video. This is going to be something a little bit new. So recently I've been focusing some time and effort onto my replay analysis series, and one of the things that I think is maybe happening is that series is perhaps registering with a different demographic than I maybe would like to. I am still going to continue with that, but I also want to add something else that perhaps will appeal to people who are looking for something a little bit more advanced, something that isn't quite as on such a basic level. I know that there are those of you out there that, the replay analysis series isn't going to necessarily help you because you may be looking for something a little bit more than that. So this is going to be kind of taking the next step after replay analysis, where I'm actually going to be looking at a pro player's replay. This game is going to be Wildturtle playing Caitlyn as an AD carry, and this was just a game from his stream, and my intention here is to watch this game and provide commentary kind of similar to replay analysis, except obviously there's going to be a lot less here to critique and criticize, but mostly I am looking to kind of highlight and analyze what he does well and what he does right, in of hopes that will benefit some of you out there. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you think this is a good thing, something you would like me to continue, and I can definitely do that. Just kind of something to round out for those of you that are looking for a little bit more advanced tips and tricks and gameplay analysis, that type of thing. So anyways, I'm just going to pause very quickly here, and I want to talk a little bit about Wildturtle because so I actually watch streams quite a bit. Quite frequently, I will watch streams. I watch Wildturtle, a lot of other guys. And one of the interesting things I think is about a stream like this is you get to see first and foremost, like, first-person view of a professional player playing League of Legends. Like, Wildturtle is one of in the top, the very, very highest echelon of North American solo queue. So this is probably something that we're all aspiring towards. And what I find most interesting, and something that I want to talk about quite a bit in this replay analysis, is his mindset and mentality. Certainly, Wildturtle has very, very good mechanics. Probably better mechanics than any of us will ever have. But he doesn't always rely on those mechanics to win games, and that is where I think that you and I can copy a lot of what is going on with his mindset, with his decision-making, with his mentality, something that can benefit your gameplays. So with that, one of the things I want you to be focusing on is his decision-making. Now, one of the most interesting things that has already happened, I'm going to back this up a little bit, and we can watch this clip again, as you can see that he decided to leash, and you'll notice that the Ezreal and Nami, the opposing dual lane, will come in right now. And you can see that they're low on HP. Now, if you would listen to what he's saying in chat, I'm unfortunately having it muted just because there's music going on, and I can't have that in a video. Is he's talking with Lustboy, his support, and they're communicating that, hey, they started double golems. So that tells Wildturtle two things. One is you can see that they are low on HP. So accordingly, Wildturtle and Lustboy are playing very far forward, very aggressively, because they already have an HP advantage. And two is they're going to be very, very mindful of the level 2. I've spoken quite a bit. If you watch any of the other videos on my channel, level 2 is one of the most important parts of any game. It sets the tone for the laning phase. And so they know that by doing double golems, that means that this dual lane that they're facing is going to have a faster advantage to hit level 2. So they need to be even more intentional about, look how much they're zoning them away. And I think that Wildturtle and Lustboy are playing this lane perfectly, because think about just the dynamics of this lane. Both of these lanes have a lot of poke, and both of these lanes have a lot of healing. So very interesting dynamic going on there, because they're going to be constantly like poking at one another, but also healing one another. So kind of a resource battle. But Wildturtle and Lustboy definitely take the advantage there because they already have the HP advantage. You can see the opposing dual lane, the Nami, is trying her best to try to auto-attack the wave. But Turtle is going to hit level 2, I believe, one more creep right after this. There you see they hit level 2, and there Wildturtle hits level 2. So it was kind of a stalemate there. But had Wildturtle been playing passively, playing back here, kind of letting the minion wave do its thing, the opposing dual lane would have hit level 2 way before. Like, look at all these blue minions here that these guys are still waiting to collect, and yet they're on an XP level playing field. So by hitting that level 2 there, they basically just stayed on target with the opposing dual lane, who decided to start double golems. So a little bit of a trade there, and understanding that trade is really important. That the other lane, dual lane, they decided to start double golems, and so that means that Wildturtle has an HP advantage but an XP disadvantage. So he played aggressively. He tried to abuse his advantage to make up for his disadvantage. So kind of an interesting thought process there. You can also notice that Turtle is using his Q almost to do nothing but poke at his opponents. So he's kind of slow pushing, which I think is kind of interesting. There they hit level 3. One of the things that Caitlyn really likes to do, that you'll see Turtle do quite a bit, is try to harass under tower. Especially with, there's another Q trying to harass this Ezreal down under tower. Okay, there's another auto attack. So every little bit counts. Every little auto attack counts. And that's one of the things that you'll notice from Turtle's gameplay, is that he makes every little tiny small thing work in his favor, and those little tiny advantages will eventually accumulate into a much larger advantage. A little sip of water here. See Turtle going to ward. Interesting decision, I think, that he chose to ward the river rather than going up toward the tri-brush. I can't exactly say why. I'm guessing that that may be part of it. I'm going to just finish my point there. So if he would have gone toward tri-brush, that would be a very dangerous ward. Warding in the river is a little bit safer, but in the same note, that ward did not protect from this gank from Zac. You can see, though, that they do a nice job. I actually want to watch this one more time. Might even slow it down, just so we can see exactly what Turtle does. Here comes Zac. So you can see he gets hit up, and then he actually decides to use his flash instead of his E. And I think the primary reason for that was that Caitlyn's E is a little bit of a wonky escape. It takes a little bit of a wind-up time. It can get, interrupted. So had Turtle, see right there, he actually saved his E to get the slow onto Ezreal, which is a really interesting choice. And the reason why he decided to slow Ezreal is because, think about Zac. What can Zac do? He can jump in with his E, he can use his Q and his W, and he already did that. So he's basically just a walking nothing, like a meat shield, basically. Zac has expended all of his cooldowns. He's worthless. Nami, I believe she used her bubble, and I know she used I saw her use her W, or not her W, her E, her slow, auto attack slow. So she's also pretty worthless. So Ezreal is really the only threat. And so Turtle used his 90 caliber net to try and get away. Now you can see they're actually trying to turn this around, given Zac's low HP pool. So overall, that was a nice job of defending against that gank. He did have to burn his flash, but he ended up staying alive. Like that's one of the things that I think I see sometimes players use their summoner spells incorrectly. And when I say incorrectly, I mean that anytime you can use your flash or your heal to either secure or deny a kill, it's worth it. That's kind of my rule of thumb. So right there, he used his flash to make sure that he didn't die. You could argue and say, you know what, he could have used his E better. Maybe he'd taken his W at level 3, could have used that a little bit better. But instead, he used his flash, and it prevented him from dying. I think that's worth it. You don't want to sit on your flash and die. That's what you never want to do. You always want to make sure you use your summoner spell to secure or deny a kill. Now it looks like they're going to go back. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up a little bit. Kay decides to go for a pickaxe and a mana pot. This is an interesting choice because the primary reason he went for a mana pot is because he has Soraka as a support. So think about it. If you have Soraka as a support, an HP pot is actually pretty worthless because Soraka is such a just behemoth of a healer. He also went for a pickaxe instead of a, and he also went for boots. Thinking about the pickaxe gives him damage. The pickaxe is the best damaging spell that he could have gotten, and also, or the damaging item that he could have bought. And also the boots. The nice thing about boots is against his lane matchup. Think about Nami and Ezreal. both of them have a very skill shot reliance. So having a little bit extra move speed is really, really nice against that, although unfortunately he got hit by some skill shots there. It's going to be something that is very useful against his dual lane. Okay, Zac comes in. This was a really funny part. Did you see this trap right here? Turtle placed this trap because Zac jumped over the wall. He did the exact same thing he did earlier. So Turtle learned from what happened, and instead of repeating his mistake, he did something to prevent it. So you can see Zac is actually, he got caught by that trap. So the moment he comes over the wall, he's going to be rooted and stunned by that trap. Very interesting little adaptation there, I think. Nobody would really think to put a trap there. But if you saw that this is Zac's gank path, then that's a perfect trap. Again, adapting to the lane matchup. You can see they're very willing to stand in and take this trade. And again, this is a perfect situation. Turtle, if we watch this little trade one more time, you can see that Turtle is very willing to trade his HP for Ezreal's because he knows that Soraka can just heal it right back. Soraka is a more efficient healer than Nami, so he's not panicking. He's not running away. He's just willing to stand and fight, and he's willing to let Soraka heal him up. A very good trade for them. Look at how low Ezreal is. This dual lane will be able to heal this health back a lot better than this dual lane. Again, the boots right there, just giving him enough movement speed to dodge that Nami bubble. Good itemization choices. And he's just going to let this lane push in. A little bit of poking and fighting. He uses his heal there to save Lustboy. So that's probably a situation where he maybe could have gone a little bit better, just because Soraka is very weak when she's the one taking the damage herself. She's much more efficient when she's standing back and in dishing out heals to somebody else who's taking damage. Soraka cannot as efficiently improve her own HP as well as she can improve her allies' HP. So you can see Turtle trying to do a little bit of a freeze here. Understanding how and when to freeze a lane is very important. The freeze is really effective here because it keeps, if Lustboy's going to go back, Turtle doesn't want to shove the lane in because he doesn't have the protection from his support. So freezing when you're in the lane by yourself is a really smart choice. Now that the lane is going to start pushing, he's just going to be getting these last hits, letting it slow push. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to expend a lot of mana to try to fast push. So getting the slow push in is fine. Now the slow push means that Ezreal won't miss anything. Lustboy gets caught out there. Nothing to be done there. Now, this is a very interesting point in the game. This is, the third or fourth time that Zac has come to gank this lane. He's so far gotten 1 kill on Soraka. And, so this, there's been a ton of jungle attention on Turtle's bottom lane. That is something that, in my solo queue experience, is something that will very quickly frustrate someone. A very typical response that you'll hear is for someone to get really upset, and they'll be really frustrated, and they'll maybe go into all chat and tell somebody about their setting up a tent, and it'll just become this big problem. And if more than anything else is it will affect someone's mentality. Getting camped hasn't really changed the effect. See, this is, again, the fourth or fifth, I think this is the fourth time that Zac has been here. I mean, just so much jungle attention right now. And you can see Lustboy actually comments, but so far, Turtle, if you were to watch this game, and you're going to just have to take my word for it because I don't have the audio, but his mentality hasn't changed a bit in the face of all of this camp. His mentality has stayed very much the same. This is one of the things I think that benefits Turtle very greatly, is his mindset is one where, he plays probably 10 or 15 solo queue games a day. Getting camped for one of those games, it probably happens all the time. It's not abnormal in the slightest. He had another camp going on. Swain here this time. This is just unbelievable how many people are bottom. But Turtle does a nice job of not panicking. He understands that he can't save his support, so he just saves his lone life. He's not getting upset. He's not flaming in chat. He's not getting mad at his teammates. He's just continuing to play his game. And I think that is a mentality that we can all take, And even if you are the type of person that doesn't play 15 games of solo queue a day, maybe you play much less. He does end up getting caught out here. Not maybe a ton that he could have done. But I just want to finish my point on the mentality, is that if you can adopt this mentality, even if you only play 1 or 2 solo queue games a day, you want to make sure that your mentality in those games is as good as it can possibly be. And, just let me ask this question. Is there anything that Wildturtle can do about the camp? No. The answer is no. There's nothing that Wildturtle can do to affect whether or not Zac continues to gank and camp his lane. However, he can control his response, and his response has been to stay calm, to stay focused, and he hasn't gotten upset. He hasn't started flaming, and I think that is a mentality that we can all benefit from greatly. So, moving forward here, trying to just zone Ezreal away. Ezreal doesn't have any mana. Just a good insight there, specifically from Lustboy, identifying that Ezreal, we don't want him to stay and get these creeps. We want to shove him under tower where we can try to zone him away. Ezreal is very much a caster-style AD carry, which means a lot of his power is tied up in his mana bar. Think about a Corki that has like a Sheen and a Phage versus Caitlyn or a Tristana that has a BF sword. Technically, a BF sword is a really good item, but if the Corki has enough mana to sustain his damage, he's going to outdamage the Tristana because he's got a lot more spell damage. Now, another interesting thing is that, I didn't actually talk about it, but the previous time when Turtle had died, I believe to the Swain, he didn't actually buy anything. If you'll notice, he just now bought the BF sword. So a very interesting choice there is, I think that, you can see that Turtle is very much, here's a nice gank. Unfortunately, Turtle didn't get any part of that. But an interesting itemization choice that he chose to sit on his gold, about 12 or 1300, and make sure that he can save up for and secure his BF sword. Understanding that on Caitlyn, one of her most important power spikes is actually securing that BF sword. That all-important BF sword for that Infinity Edge. So consider that. If you're going to be playing somebody like this in this situation, do whatever you can to get that BF sword. If that means that you skip a little bit of an item, so that one back he didn't buy anything, and then actually he probably backed very quickly because he was specifically saving up for that BF sword power timing. Gonna go ahead and take this Gromp. Just a little thing. The new jungle camps really, look at how much damage he's taking from that Gromp. It almost took his full health bar. So an interesting thing there. And I wonder, actually this is not related to this replay, but I wonder if AD carries might start prioritizing a little bit of lifesteal earlier on into the game, just because the jungle camps beat them up, and the not necessarily the creeps, but just it's harder to go and take those little camps without a little bit of lifesteal. Or just maybe that the adaptation is that as an AD carry, you simply cannot go into the jungle and take a camp if you're going to go for the Infinity Edge, Static Shiv, Last Whisperer Rush. Now we can see here that an interesting thing is that, like I said earlier, there's been a lot of attention paid to Wildturtle in the bottom lane. Well, that means that the rest of the map has had quite a bit of opportunity to power up because Zac's attention has been so focused on the bottom lane. And so that means that for the rest of the map has a lot of power. And so the key idea here is letting yourself get carried at times. For much of this game, Turtle hasn't really been in a position to quote-unquote carry. He didn't crush the laning phase, quote-unquote. But he did the best with what he was given, and he made sure not to get upset or to, get overly concerned despite the camp that was occurring. Getting a little bit caught out of position here, but he allowed himself to be in position. Oh, I think I just messed it up. He allowed himself to be in position to get carried through the beginning stages of the game so that he can be effective in the later stages of the game. Allowing yourself to get carried is almost just as important as getting actually carried. Because, let's face it, like I said, there aren't always things in your control. But, he other than that, he really has minimized his deaths. For the amount of attention that's been placed on bottom lane, to be 1 and 2 is really not in such a bad place. He did have to save his gold up a little bit to get his BF sword, but he got his Infinity Edge. And now you've got a really, really strong Warwick. I believe Ahri is really strong. They just have so much power across the map that Turtle can still make plays by allowing his teammates to be strong. Just allowing them to be powerful. Not getting mad at them. Letting them, make the best of the situation given to their entire team. Speed this up just a little bit here. Little minor thing is I'd really like to start getting into 60 frames. I've been noticing a lot of people have been posting videos or streams at 60 frames, and I think it looks really nice. It's very smooth. Now, you might notice, a little bit of a fail Malphite out there. You might notice that my audio quality is not very good. I'm having to make do with a different setup this week, which is really annoying, so the audio quality in this video is probably going to be really bad. So I apologize about that. But I'm making best with do with what I have. Alright, so it looks like we are grouping. Now, this is an important time to talk about strategy. One of the things that Turtle does is he does a very, very nice job of anticipating and playing the game very well. His game sense is very high. And so just a little thing right there where they decided to back off the turret, that's a good decision. You don't want to try and force it when it's not there. This team of theirs is going to scale really, really hard. They've got really good teamfight initiation with Malphite. They've got Warwick, who's going to have a ton of damage. He's 3-0 and 5. He's going to be really fed. And then Caitlyn and Ahri are going to be a pretty formidable backline. Okay, it looks like Turtle is... They kind of got initiated on there, but he didn't really do anything too special. Using his ultimate there to perhaps fish for a to get Zac into his blob form. Really no reason not to. Doing a nice job of just maintaining on the primary target. A nice Q there to finish off that, or help finish off the Aurelia. And you can see, Turtle's just doing a really nice job of following up on the plays that his team has made. He's not the one initiating team fights. He's not the one making all these insane mechanical moves. He's just playing very methodically, very solidly, trying to farm up after that early camp to get his items. Now he's coming down to get this big wave. Now, unfortunately, that does leave his team in a little bit of a position where they're trading some kills, but he's doing what he can to get himself back in this game, realizing he probably can't do that Gromp because it hits so hard. And now that Soraka's here, he can. Just a very little thing, but he, in Lust Boy, I don't know if they're on voice comms, but just having the map awareness to understand that he couldn't do it before, but now that Soraka's here, he can do it. Very little thing, but it just shows that he's got good map awareness. He's watching his menu map very frequently. Gonna go ahead and save up for the full static Shiv. He knows that he has blue buff, so he doesn't have to sit in base and wait for his mana bar to regenerate. Uses spamming his E on cooldown to get back to lane faster. Just a little tiny detail, but one that does, help and improve and impact his gameplay. Alright, a little bit of a team fight breaks out. Zac initiates in. He does a nice job of sidestepping. And now at this point... Okay, I wanna actually back this up. There was a tiny little detail there. Okay, so... Let's pause. Okay, we don't actually see Zac on the map. He's going to come flying in out of the fog of war. Little sidestep. Just auto-attacking the nearest target. Doing as much auto-attacking as he can possibly do. Okay, little tiny detail, but you'll notice he puts a trap right here. One of the things about Caitlyn, I think that people really underestimate, is really good, smart use of her traps. Her traps are a very powerful tool in specific situations, and you know exactly where Zac is going to be. You know exactly where he's going to respawn, so putting a trap down there is just really, really smart. Trying to stay away from Swain. He doesn't want to get Swain combo. Swain actually ends up stepping on that trap, which is really good for them. And then that allows Warwick to come in and ult. Zac ends up wasting his ultimate, using his E aggressively there because he knows that he can go in. Perhaps not the best choice because he did have to end up using his flash. Nice use of his ultimate to pick up that kill. And now just allowing his team to catch up and do a lot of work here. It's just a very small detail, but placing that trap on Zac's blob, the center of Zac's blob, is just a little thing that ended up working really, really well for them. I don't necessarily think anybody would say, oh, if you want to make it to Diamond, you got to use Caitlyn traps well. But if you can really understand the little decision-making that goes into the little details, that's just a little thing that can make a big difference. If you take 100 little things, it's going to add up, or 100 pennies always adds up to $1. Get my charger here. Okay, it looks like they're posturing for a dragon fight. Now, just a little thing, but you'll notice that Turtle is positioning himself. I think one of the things, I don't know if other players do this, but there was a breakthrough that I had when I was learning to play AD carry, is that I always kind of thought that I need to position myself between the enemy team and my base. But that's actually not always the correct choice. What you better want to do is position your allies in between yourself and the enemy team. So look at where Turtle is right now. He's got Malphite out in front, standing next to Ahri. He's not really in a position to get engaged on. And then with this team fight right here, just notice his positioning. I'm going to go ahead and slow this down. He's trying to stay back as far as he can. I used a nice 90 caliber net to try to give himself some space from the threatening enemy champions. Now just auto-attacking the very nearest target, which is the Aurelia. Using his ultimate there to try and pick off somebody who had gotten really low. Now this is a moment where things get a little tense because he split off to the side to go for Ezreal, but that put himself in a bit of a sticky situation. Got himself into a little bit of trouble. And actually right there, I think he maybe made it a little bit of a mistake because he actually had his E up, he had his W up, and he had his heal up. So I think if he maybe would have used his heal, used his net to create some distance from the Aurelia, he could have escaped there. But for the most part, his positioning in that fight was pretty good. Doing a nice job of just auto-attacking the nearest target. Staying out of harm's way, using his net and his traps defensively. Letting his allies initiate and stay in the front line. Just very basic. This is the most basic fundamentals of AD carry. But he makes those fundamentals look so easy because he does them so consistently well. Speed this up a little bit here. Take this red buff. He accidentally steals the Gromp there, or the doubles. Oops. Push this lane out. Following up. Very easy. Just an easy thing right there. But being in position, understanding that the Warwick has his ultimate up and that he wants to go aggressive, I think the Warwick might have pinged it, but there really wasn't much to that other than just good map awareness. Now he sees his allies fighting. Gonna go ahead and push this lane out. There really hasn't been anything too flashy so far, but just very good, solid play, good map awareness, good understanding of what his allies can do, even though he got camped super hard. Like the Zac was in his lane all the time. He did a nice job of staying relevant in farm, not giving up too many kills, even though they were kind of preying a little bit on Lustboy. Just controlling what he can control, playing his game as best as he can. Again, placing traps. He's almost placing traps on cooldown. That's like one of the little details, but Turtle uses his traps really, really effectively. Alright, the fight kind of breaks out. Zac jumps in. He just stands his ground in his fighting. He knows that he's got a big front line ahead of him. Trying to position himself. Interesting, just a little tidbit is how he positions himself to the side to give as much room to attack these champions while staying out of tower range. And now that the fight is won, he actually eases in and goes aggressive in a nice flash. So a very nice mechanical play there to flash that skill shot. I talked a little bit earlier about the proper use of summoner spells. You know, he used his flash there to guarantee and secure a kill. While he's walking forward, I guarantee in his mind he is thinking about, you know, Nami can bubble me, Aurelia can stun me, you know, whatever can potentially happen, I bet he's thinking about it, and then uses his ultimate here to pick up this kill. It's very good, solid, secure, sound play. Goes to finish it off. And he's up to 8-3, just having a very solid game after a difficult early start where he got camped. They decide to make a play for this Baron. Notice how, as an AD carry, Turtle continues to prioritize doing the Baron. Only now that the Aurelia is here does he back off, but you have to, you know, it's just a good thing to realize. Ooh, they did end up losing it there. No smite on the Warwick. But they noticed that, you know, as an AD carry, you have some of the highest persistent DPS in the game. So you're probably one of the most important people to try to burn down that Baron, just because your kit is such that you are very, very helpful in that task. Keep these lanes pushing. Okay, fight breaks out. Actually, back this up a little bit and slow this down. And just continue to focus on his positioning. Excuse me. Make sure that we're really trying to get every detail here. Pretty nice Malphite ult. Gets right into the middle of them. Okay. So we see the wave come out. Turtle just takes the closest target, that being Zac. Uses his E to try to stay away from the crowd control. Now we see Aurelia coming. He gets flash stunned by the Aurelia, but again, he stays with his support. His target switching is fantastic. Going immediately to the Swain. That's just a little tiny detail, but he didn't key on the Aurelia. He switched immediately to the Swain. And why? Because Swain is a higher damage threat than the Aurelia. Aurelia has already used her stun. She's maybe already used her ultimate. But getting Swain down is really important. Now switching to the Aurelia. Now switching back. And he does end up actually getting caught out. Unfortunately, his front line kind of crumbled a little bit. But target switching is a really underrated skill on an AD carry. Being able to quickly, almost immediately address the situation, identify when to switch your target and on who. It can often be the difference between life and death. Okay, going for Bloodthirster now. Just a very minor thing, but one of the things I notice Wildturtle does really well is his builds are just straight up boring. One of the things that I see a little bit from... I don't want this to come across as like a bash or anything, but some of the things I've noticed from the lower level replays in my experience, just like from reading forum posts, is sometimes players at lower levels really want to build fun items. Things like Runedanc's Hurricane, Frozen Mallet. I've kind of harped on those things on certain forum posts and in some of my videos because I think that when you watch Turtle, like, he always, almost every single game, will build the boring, conventional, but yet effective build path. His build is boring and conventional, but it's very effective. And that's because Turtle is playing these games to win. You know, if you've watched his stream at all, you know, he spends a lot of his time checking out the points on the ladder, and in between queues, he'll just see, the competition between whether it's Polebuilter or whoever else is at the top of the ladder at that time. That's what Turtle's focused on. And if you, as a solo queue player, want to climb and raise, I think that we can learn a little bit, take a page from his playbook, and understand that items are a means to an end. That a quote-unquote fun build might be suboptimal. And to be totally honest, in my definition of fun is winning. My definition of fun is getting to diamond. And if that means going for a quote-unquote boring build path, I think that you should do it. And I think that you should do it willingly and understand that it's optimal and it's boring for a reason. Because it's good, because it's effective. Alright, so Malphite goes in. Immediately, he decides to ult the Ezreal. An interesting little detail, because the reason he did that is because we saw that Malphite got a really good engage and the Warwick got a really good engage on their AD carry. One of the most important things in a late game teamfight is killing or protecting the AD carry. And so Turtle probably isn't very safe for him to use his E or his flash to get in there, so he just uses his ultimate. Very easy way for Turtle to get to the backline and deal some damage to the backline. You can see target switching again. He was auto-attacking this inhibitor. Zac jumps in. He immediately turns to the Zac. And it's the thing that's so impressive about it is how instantaneous. He makes the right decision instantly. His target switching is fantastic. Again, a little detail, but he puts a trap down. This trap could potentially protect him from somebody coming out of base and killing him. And I think with that, they're probably just going to go ahead and end the game. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know your thoughts below if you want me to continue with some of these pro replay analysis. I think that this is a pretty interesting addition, something I would very much like to continue. Just focusing on pro games, pro stream games, where they, are playing well. They're playing at the top of the highest level of North American solo queue. And I think that we, the rest of us, have a lot to learn from these gameplays. So let me know your thoughts down below. Feel free to continue to send replays into clayplaysreplayanalysis@gmail.com. I prefer Baron Replay or op.gg, but I can accept LOL replay files. They're just really buggy. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you soon.